The first wave of Memory of Chaos in version 1.5 did make some seemingly small but actually really impactful changes to MoC that actually made it a lot more challenging for a lot of players. So today I'm going to go over the changes that they made and then also just give my thoughts on it, since I do really enjoy the endgame stuff in Star Rail, so I do want to give my thoughts on these changes because they might seem small at first, but putting them all together, it does make things a lot more interesting. So, for the changes, there are three main ones that I noticed, and if there's any I might have missed, you can let me know down in the comments below as well. So, firstly, all of the stages now are one fight that'll have two waves in the fight, which is a small change from the previous, Memory of Chaos, phases, because previously, I believe it was stages 1 through 5, you would have two separate fights in each half that were, one wave each. But instead, they just consolidated it, made it in the same format as the second half of stages. So that is nice, so that you don't have to, figure out how to use your technique points in between those phases for players that don't make it too far in Memory of Chaos. So it definitely is a bit nice for them. But also, with there being two waves, you also have to, play around that kind of thing and make sure that you're, managing your characters correctly and being able to live through that, because there is, you don't have the time to just kind of plan in between fights. Then secondly, I've also noticed from the runs I've been doing so far that enemies, they do have, I feel like they don't hit as hard as they used to in previous MOCs, like comparing the Swarm Disaster boss from last MOC phase to this one. They definitely are not doing that much damage, but the biggest thing I noticed is that they are noticeably tankier. They do have more HP, and that's a very interesting way of, making MOC harder, just because it's going to make it so that now, sure, you have your good sustain, and that's awesome, but you also need to be able to output enough damage. And with the way MOC is right now, that final phase, or that final stage, first half has a big imaginary weakness, and second half has a big ice weakness. So, Imbibitor Lune and Jing Liu are probably going to be at the top for a while, which, could be a whole nother discussion for another video as well. But, yeah, them being tankier is something I definitely noticed. And this also kind of leads me into the last major change that I saw, which I didn't notice at first when I was clearing floor 9. And I ended up only 2-starring stage 9 because of this. They actually changed the cycle clear requirement to get 3 stars. Previously in MOC it was 16 cycles left, but now it's 20 cycles left. And I think it was just below this the 20 cycles, which sucks, but it is what it is. And yeah, those last 2 stages, you're gonna feel like you're not doing that much damage, but I mean you are. It's just that they have a lot more HP. So yeah, those are the 3 main changes that I noticed. Once again, I might have missed something since I haven't played it too terribly much. The only stage I've really been playing has been MOC 10, because to be completely honest with y'all, I haven't even beaten MOC 10, which is crazy. Because, I've been able to beat it the past few cycles, but now with the, the changed up stats plus the clear condition, I haven't been able to beat it yet. So, I'm gonna keep working on that. But my thoughts overall on these changes are pretty positive. I do think that they are beneficial because, MOC is supposed to be the one of the 2 endgame modes for Star Rail, the other one being the Swarm Disaster. And, them making it, maybe a little bit harder is definitely nice for the more hardcore player that Star Rail is kind of made for. And I think something that's very specific to the current MOC is the buff that I do also think makes it a little bit harder, because we've had some MOC buffs over time that have been they can activate during a cycle, or they're just there regardless, or increasing damage. But the buff for this time makes it so that whenever you use a skill or an ultimate that damages the enemy, you get a turn for you to get another attack. It works very similarly to the Lightning Lord, except that, one skill or ultimate equals 1 hit per action, and at the end of a cycle, all those hits per action will hit enemies. And that is, it can be good if you're able to get a lot of skills off and whatnot, but because it is backloaded damage, it's not as prevalent in, you know, being able to benefit you in a lot of situations as some of the other buffs we had in the past. So the strength of your team is a lot more important in this current MoC. I feel like it'll probably be different once we get the second MoC phase for 1.5, because Argenti will be out and they'll probably have a buff that's suited towards him. But since the current banner unit is Hua, we don't really have, you know, anything that's super crazy for that, since she is a healer. And yeah, I do think that with the MoC being harder, plus also the buff right now, I think this serves as a perfect reality check for players, because I'm sure there's probably a bunch of players who were kind of in the same shoes as me, which was like before this phase of MoC, we were able to clear stage 10, you know, pretty handedly, but like we weren't like 0 cycling, 1 cycling, whatever. But now, with not only with it being a bit harder, and now we have to, you know, be able to clear it under stricter requirements, but also we're having stages 11 and 12 come out in the next version. So if we're kind of struggling getting 3 stars on stage 10, and like what's going to be on stages 11 and 12. So I'm really interested to see what that's going to be like, and definitely does kind of light a fire under me to make sure my builds are as good as I can get them to be for my characters. So, you know, definitely does give me some more stuff to work on. But overall, I do think that Hoyoverse is doing a great job on the endgame content in Star Rail, and I definitely think that they're going to keep it up, especially with stages 11 and 12 coming out for MoC, as well as the new Pure Fiction mode, which I'll definitely be covering for, you know, once that comes out in 1.6. So if you do want to see more of that, and you enjoyed the video today, definitely be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell. But with that, everyone, I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.